Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Lady Black Kaleidoscope Project. Yay! So, today we are going to start this series about the Great Eight against Hate, which I talked about the last episode. And so, just to recap what they are, the Great Eight against Hate are my ways, or 8 ways that I think that are essential to becoming anti-racist, anti-bias. So again, they're courage, commitment, consciousness, curiosity, compassion, conversation, creativity, and community. So today we're going to start with the first one, which is courage. So, what is courage exactly? Well, let's look at our trusty Webster's Dictionary and Thesaurus. Let's whip that out. So, let's find what exactly courage is. Courage is a noun, and it's the ability to conquer fear or despair, bravery or valor. Here's some synonyms. I love the word synonym. Bravery, daring, fearlessness, gallantry, guts, hardihood, heart, heroism, nerve, stoutness, valor, backbone, fiber, fortitude, grit, gumption, gumption, mettle, pluck, spunk, determination, perseverance, resolution, endurance, stamina, tenacity, and audacity, boldness, brazenness, cheek, effrontery, gall, temerity. So that's Webster's many, many words for courage. So it just gives you to know what it is and what words you could use. There you go. I just listed like 20 of them. So it's important to remember this really great quote by Maya Angelou, who is one of my hugest heroes. Courage is the most important of all the virtues because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can practice any virtue erratically, but nothing consistently without courage. There you go. So, yeah, the foundation of all my Great Eight against Eight is courage. You can't do this. You can't go through this process. You can't really do anything without courage, because this is tough. This is hard. This work, doing this anti-racist, anti-bias work, is hard. It's not easy work, but it's incredibly rewarding work, and it's so worth it. But you are going to need courage in order to do any of it, because there's going to be fear. You're going to have doubt. You're going to have those things that you're going to have to grapple with, and you're going to have to face that and face those things, which is difficult. So you need that courage to be able, that grit, that fortitude, to be able to endure it. Because, we're in it for the long haul. This needs to be for the long haul. So every step, every one of these steps, all of them, all require courage. They all require courage. Because, like she said, you can't really do it consistently if you don't have courage. So, here's another quote. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Dale Carnegie. That guy wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that's the dude. Okay, so obviously I chose this quote, and then I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, everybody's kind of sitting at home because of the pandemic. But I think it's still good because it's, you can still take action while being in quarantine. I mean, there are people who have gone out to the protests, to the Black Lives Matter protests. And protests, in this country, And in a lot of countries around the world, like, protest is one of the most effective ways of making your voice heard. But not everybody likes to go to protest. Not everybody can go to protest for various reasons. So don't let that, because I think sometimes you feel like, oh, well, I'm not going to a protest. I can't go to a protest, or I don't want to go to a protest. I might as well take a seat back. No, you don't. That's not an excuse just because you're not into protests or you can't literally go to a protest. There's always actions you can take, and even though we're at home or we're in quarantine, there's still things you can do. You can research things. You can look at DVD. You can look at documentaries. You can read books. You can order things. There's so much that those little actions, you might not think it's okay. It's not protest, but they are just as significant as a protest. Because it's changing your mind and changing the people in your lives, in your home's mind, your kids, your partner, your pets. If you have pets, I mean, hey, they're friends too. So, it's important to have don't use that as an excuse. Oh, I don't want to go to a protest, or I can't go to a protest. Like, there are things that you can do. You have the internet. I mean, you're watching this because you have the internet. So there's so much. There's so many resources. There's so many things that you can check out. That's taking action. Just because it's not a protest doesn't mean you can't take action. That is taking action. Having conversations, talking to people about your own biases and being those things, talking to your friends, talking to your family about those things. That's doing something. And every time you do it, it gives you a little more courage. You get a little bit along the way. I mean, courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. I think Nelson Mandela said something like that. So that's what it is. So don't be afraid to not do that. Courage is what happens, or courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. Winston Churchill. So, yeah. I mean, so in this moment, for the first time, or, and just in this moment in general, even before the pandemic, I mean, Black and brown and stories of color were coming to the forefront, because for as long as I've known it, and for 400 years in this country, the story has been about whiteness. The story of our country, the story of our history has been centered around whiteness. And so now with the pandemic, which is forcing everyone to sit down and take a breather and really think and reflect, now Black and brown stories more and more, definitely since Obama has been in the White House. I think that was a huge cultural shift that caused Black and other people's color stories to become part of the forefront in this movement. This is not, we need allies, particularly when it comes to anti-racism and Black Lives Matter, everything. We need white allies, but you are not the center of the movement. It's Black people that are the center of the movement, which may be hard for some people to swallow, and it is, because of their own biases. They don't see that, they're used to seeing white people being the center of the movement. No, in this situation, Black Lives Matter. I know that's why there's this whole backlash, even with the whole movement, even when it started, like all lives matter, blue lives matter, everything like that. No, this is about Black lives. Black lives mattering doesn't cancel out every other type of person on earth. It's just that we have always been put last. So, white people and other, when it comes to anti-racism, right, white people, you have to take a step back and listen to our stories. If we want to tell them, we're not, you can't just press people, oh, tell me your story. They might not want to tell your story. That's why we have DVDs and books and things that you can read. So you don't necessarily always have to ask your friend or your acquaintance or a coworker who, Black or brown or person of color, to tell you their story, because they might not have to tell you their story. They're not obligated to do that. And an instance for myself is when I stood, when I went and told my story and told about the trauma that I experienced at my high school. And I was in a room of, alumni who were white women. And they had to listen because I was telling my story because I wanted things to change. I made my voice heard to want to affect change. And slowly it has. I mean, I started this 2.5 years ago. But there are ways that you can hear people's stories. Might not be your friends or something. I mean, especially if you're from a private school or a world. Look at the Black at Instagram pages. There's so many stories about racism and things that they've experienced. So, a couple of people who I think exemplified courage are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Yes, happy birthday, Meghan. It's like a day or two late, but happy birthday. And I feel that they exemplify that because interracial relationships takes courage, because to be in one, to be committed to one, to be married to someone of a different race takes a lot of courage. And in this case with these two, they gave up a lot to be together. And she gave up her life, her family, everything, to move over to England to be there. And she got a lot of flack, like from a lot of flack. I mean, enough what really, it took a lot of guts for Prince Harry, even back before when they were dating, to like tell the press to cease and desist. Stop mocking my woman. Stop making fun of my girlfriend. This is the person I love. And I was like, okay, this is like legit. He's really willing to do that. I was just like, wow. Because for me, until recently, there weren't a lot of people that were willing to stand up for me and stand with me, at least not publicly. So, I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be an ally, and to be a white ally in particular. I mean, you're going to deal with flack. I mean, honestly, and even for Meghan, for her, for him, he, gave up. He has moved to America, and he has given up everything to be with her because they love each other. They sacrificed a lot. It wasn't just Prince Harry who sacrificed a lot. Because I think a lot of times it's like, oh, it's the white person who sacrificed a lot. That's because of the way everything is centered on whiteness. But Meghan Markle, she sacrificed a lot just to marry him, just to be with him. In terms of her anonymity and her just, she was known, but just the royal spotlight on her. She gave up a lot. So I think it's important to remember that, love conquers all, and true love conquers all. And, things are not always simple. And being in an interracial relationship, whether it's romantic, especially if it's romantic, but even if it's platonic, there are a lot of risks. You are going to deal with flack. And, if you're a white person and you're watching this and you're wanting to take this work and do this work, you may lose friends. You have to be prepared for that. If you're really going to really invest and be in this work, people around you, not everybody is for this movement. This moment is not always going to be, we're not always going to be in this moment. People may go back to how things were or want things to be how they were. I think there are a lot of people who want things to be how they used to be, but we're moving on. So you may lose friends. Just be prepared for that. You may lose friends. Okay? So, and you might have some contentious relationships. So be prepared for that. But it's worth it because you are becoming a better person. And so finally, I want to end with a poem. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. And here we go. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I'm sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to be where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, and just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there has worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no steps had trodden back. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubt if I ever should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. To take up the mantle of committing to being anti-racist and anti-bias is it's a lonely road. Not everybody's going to do it. And after this moment passes, everybody is not going to do it. Right now it's popular. Hopefully this will be sustainable and there'll be more people who are joining this road. But there are a lot of people who still will not stick to this. They will not stay in this moment. They will not continue this once this moment passes. So if you're going to do it, just know that you are taking the road less traveled by. But it will make a difference. It will make a difference in the lives of so many people that you may never meet. But it is worth something. It is worth taking this road to being anti-racist, to being anti-bias. So, remember, keep on keeping on, live out loud, and embrace your kaleidoscope soul. Bye, everyone. Till tomorrow, till the next episode.